It was a month overdue, but the $229 billion state budget was finally passed by lawmakers this past week, and it sets aside millions of dollars in funding for projects in the Adirondack Park. $400 million for the Environmental Protection Fund. From that, $2 million will fund a survey to assess the impact climate change is having on Adirondack lakes. $2 million will fund the SUNY ESF Timbuktu Summer Climate and Careers Institute. And $8 million will help address overcrowding, visitor management, and safety in the Adirondack High Peaks and Catskills. $500,000 will help Cornell University control the invasive hemlock woolly adelgid. $250,000 will support the Paul Smith College Visitor Interpretive Center. And $100,000 will go to the Adirondack Mountain Club for a new High Peaks Information Center. And joining us to talk more about what's in the budget is North Country Assemblyman Billy Jones. And Assemblyman Billy Jones joins us now. Welcome. The budget finally passed this week. $229 billion. That's a record for New York.
Yeah, it's a lot of money, Tom, and that's, if it just came down to the dollars and cents, we probably would have had an on-time budget, but when you shove a bunch of policy in it, that's where the rub comes with negotiations between the legislature and the governor. And, I firmly believe that a budget should be about, a fiduciary document that the residents of New York State see what it is. But when you start putting a bunch of chapters in it and language in it and policy in it, it just isn't good for anybody, I don't believe.
And that's not new. That's been the way for a number of years now, where policy gets attached, and much of the debate is over the policies and not necessarily the spending.
Sure. Yeah, it came in. I think David Patterson back in the day, and Cuomo was, kind of a master at doing that as well.
Your colleague Dan Steck and other Republicans say the spending has gotten way out of control. That under the Democrats' supermajority, this budget is about $60 billion more than it was just 4 years ago. Mm-hmm. Do you have concerns about the amount of spending?
I always have concerns about the amount of spending, and I think our reserves are pretty healthy right now, but I think we need to be very leery, yes, because it is a lot of money, and that federal money that we have had in the past couple of years isn't going to be there. So for sure, we have to keep an eye on it. Didn't raise taxes this year, and spent a lot of money. So, we gotta balance the books here, and or make sure moving forward that we are able to balance the books.
So no increase in the taxes. What are some of the other highlights for you?
We delivered record amounts in K through 12 education, foundation aid, NAMS trams. I got funding for that. We have this great transportation manufacturing cluster here in the Plattsburgh region. And this organization helps out with that.
You talked about infrastructure. You talked about roads and bridges. A number of communities, and Plattsburgh's among them, say now with water and sewer, having to replace century-old water and sewer lines, that they really need that type of funding to be right up there along with the roads and bridges, that they sort of need that almost yearly to have that money coming in from the state.
Absolutely. There's the CHIPS formula that we use for highway funding, and I've introduced proposals to make that style of funding available to our villages and our water districts and our wastewater districts and our towns, villages, and cities. I think it's a good way to distribute that money, and they do need the help. We need clean water here. I have towns and villages in my district that have spent millions of dollars, and that system's not working. So now they have to go back to another system. Now they're spending more money on it. I'm going to visit one of my villages here in the next week or so and talk about this. So they're spending a lot of money on this.
Plattsburgh is going to spend several million.
Absolutely.
To replace all of the water and sewer lines under Margaret Street.
And it's aging. All this infrastructure is aging as well. But it's very expensive to our localities, very expensive to our residents there. So we need to do more, provide more funding for that.
You were hoping to get funding in the budget for fire departments, volunteer fire departments, to pay for recruiting, pay for training. Were you successful in getting the money to help them out?
I'm very proud and happy that I introduced 3 bills last year. 2 of those bills got into the budget, providing funding for capital and equipment funding for fire departments, and also help pay for a training, a stipend for training, firefighter 1, firefighter 2, and officers, I believe, are the categories. So very happy that that made it through. Wanted a little more money in the capital side of it, but 25 million for capital, 6.5 million for the training statewide.
One of the other big components of the budget was looking at clean energy and electrification beginning in 2026. New building construction, phasing out natural gas. That's a big concern to a number of people up here in the North Country who use natural gas. They look at that and say, whoa, it looks like down the road this could be eventually a ban on us using natural gas.
Certainly some concerns there, but let's put the facts out there. You can always count on me to provide facts for you. It is in 2026. I do have some concerns with it, certainly. My residents do. It's in 2026. It's exempting a lot of businesses, manufacturing, agriculture, and there is an amendment in there that says if the grid cannot take it, my colleagues and I worked on this amendment, if the grid cannot provide it to their homes, then they can get a waiver on that. Let's put the facts out there. Certainly a lot of concern out there. I'm hearing from residents on it, but go with the facts. Nobody's coming in to steal your gas stove. If you have a gas stove, you can keep it for 1,000 years if you want under this law. Construction, if you were to demolish your home and rebuild it, you can keep it. If you wanted to put an expansion on, you can keep it. You can remodel it. Just read the facts. Don't believe social media, because there are certain sides of this that always want to stoke the flame, no pun intended. But you know, I'll always tell you the truth and I'll tell you the facts. Did I have some concerns on it? Yeah, that's why I put in some amendments in there to protect our rural North Country residents.
And looking at the Climate Change Act, though, I know a number of people think we're moving too quickly. They have concerns about some of the mandates being put in place, requiring schools to convert to electric buses beginning in 2 or 3 years. And they agree that it needs to be done, that we need to deal with climate change. But there are those voices that think things are moving too quickly, too many state mandates may be coming too soon.
I don't like to see a lot of mandates in there. I think the carrot is often better than the stick. You know, I'm concerned about the school bus too, because of the expense in it, and our school districts just don't know how they're going to meet that goal. We don't know how we're actually going to physically get those buses. So I think there's going to have to be some amendments there. But certainly, people are concerned about the climate. I'm concerned about it. You're concerned about it. People are concerned about it. So, you know, we do need to take action. We just have to be careful of that balance, right? The affordability balance and making it so our residents can actually attain that goal. Because one of my biggest concerns when we're talking about electric buildings is the grid capability, and if you're forcing people to do this, is it actually going to get there? I live in the district probably where more renewable energy is produced right now than any other district in New York State. You know that. You see the windmills and the and the solar panels. We don't have the ability to get all that out. So when I'm talking to my colleagues and I'm talking to people and policymakers, you can build all the solar farms you want, all the wind farms you want, but if you can't get the power to where it's got to go, what are you doing here? So I think we need to continue to educate policymakers and people that want to do this.
You have a bill that would make swatting calls a more serious offense.
Absolutely.
Right now it's a misdemeanor?
Misdemeanor, yes.
And unfortunately we're seeing this happening more. I think it's happened here in Plattsburgh just a couple of times now within the past month.
Certainly. I was just telling this story. I was down in Albany when the incidents happened all around New York State. They happened that particular day. I think it was the end of March. And I was sitting in a committee meeting, and I got a call from one of my staff, and I was petrified, and scared and nervous. And then they called me back and said, "Oh, it's not what." But we saw right here in Plattsburgh City. I mean, the troopers and the cops went in, scared the children, and I'm not blaming the troopers and cops whatsoever, but for somebody to sit back and make these calls and everything we have going off in this country, Nashville had just happened, to put our children through that experience, the trauma, to put our teachers through that, to put the families through it. I have a daughter myself. I'm just so mad about it. So we need to do something about it. It's bad enough that incidents like this happen, tragic, horrible incidents, but for somebody to do this and call in intentionally just to scare people and put law enforcement and these families through it, it's unforgivable in my estimation.
Let's talk about the border. Word came this week that the U.S. on May 12th is going to lift the vaccination requirement for Canadians and other non-citizens using the land border crossings. That's something you and other political and business leaders here have been calling for more than a year now, since the border reopened. Mm-hmm. So is it finally good that the U.S. is doing this?
Yeah, I mean, listen, you can pack into a sports stadium with, at Madison Square Garden with 25,000 people. They don't ask your vaccination status. You can pack into a football game with 100,000 people. They don't ask for your vaccination status. You know me. I'm vaccinated. I am for vaccinations, but to have that mandate at the border, it just seemed like we're out of this phase, and it was affecting some cross-border traffic. We're still not up to the levels that we were pre-pandemic, and anything that helps that, I think we should encourage it.
And beyond this, still best for the U.S. and Canada to get back on the same page when it comes to border policies, get everything back in sync?
That's what we've been asking for. You can talk to Gary Douglas at the Chamber. You can talk to business leaders around here, community leaders, my colleagues. That's what we've been asking for. Continuity along that border to make sure we're on the same page. We've been asking for that for 3 years.
Billy Jones, thanks a lot for taking the time to be with us. We
Always
appreciate
good
it.
to be here. Thank you.